Hi guys, for today's direction video, we'll be going over today, Wednesday, May 20th assignment, which is to complete the note-taking page 3, which are what are the plants that are found in your biome and what are the adaptations that these plants have to survive. As always, your Google Classroom stream should be up and you should see the previous assignments as well as their videos. So if you were unable to complete note-taking page 2 from yesterday or note-taking page 1 from Monday, the direction videos are included on the assignment for you to look back on and complete any of your unfinished slides. However, today we will be completing note-taking page 3, which is called What Are the Plants in Your Biome and What Are Their Adaptations? So at this point, you need to open up your biome note-taking guide. As you can see, mine is open right here on the top of my toolbar. And I am on note-taking page 3, where you guys all should be as well. At this point, you need to type in the name of your biome, like you do every day before starting a new note-taking page. I have typed in deciduous forest for my biome. Then you should go ahead and look at the categories that we will be finding information on. We will be finding information on the type of plants that are found in your biome and what are their adaptations that they have that they need to survive. I'll go over adaptations a little bit farther into the video. Let's first focus on our left column of our note-taking guide. What are the types of plants in your biome? Obviously, I will be looking for the types of plants that are found in my specific biome, that being the deciduous forest. However, you'll be looking for the types of plants that are found in your biome, whichever biome that is that you have selected to research. Once your note-taking page is ready and open, you should be logged on to your Epic Books collection. As you can see, my Epics book collection was already left up, so I'm already logged on. However, if yours was not where you exit out of it from the previous day, that is okay. Be sure to log on to Epic and log into your avatar by using the code NMK1017. Then once you select your mailbox, you will then select the usual collection titled Biome Research with the name of the biome of your research project shown here. Mine is the deciduous forest. So, as we research today, we have to keep in mind what we are focusing on in our research. We are focusing on the types of plants that are in this biome. Now, every single one of my books is about the deciduous forest. However, some of these books might not be the best when researching just about plants. So as always, I expect you to look through at least 2 books. And sometimes you may even need to look through 3 or even more. So we're going to begin today by looking at one of our books and trying to figure out and research the different types of plants that live in my deciduous forest biome. So my first book that I'm going to select is, I'm going to actually select the Deciduous Forest Biome book. And a lot of these books we have already opened up, so you want to make sure they either open up on the cover page. That is the page where you see a picture or photograph along with the title of the book, and the table of contents page. As always, the table of contents helps us to find information that we are looking for and what page that information would be on. So now I see in this one, it says all 4 seasons, life in the trees and the leaves, and the future of the deciduous forest. I really am looking just to focus on plants today. So I don't think it's going to be in all 4 seasons. However, I can check to see. And if it's not, I may just have to look into a different book. Let's go ahead and see if we can find some examples of plants. Deciduous forests change through the year. The broad leaves on the trees in deciduous forest show the passing seasons. Maple, oak, hickory, and beech trees fill deciduous forests. Wow, I actually gained information that I didn't think I was going to be able to find in this book. Right here in this line actually states the different types of trees that could be found in the deciduous forest. So I'm going to now toggle back to my biome note-taking guide, and I'm going to write in a couple of those examples of trees. Maple, oak, hickory, and beech trees. Now, a lot of times I might not remember exactly what I read, but that's where we allow our tabs to stay on the top of our toolbar to toggle back and forth. So now I'm going to go back to my Epic book to see if I can find out any more examples. And when I went back, I realized I wrote beech trees. And as I select the word, it's actually pronounced beech tree. So that allows me to go back to my note-taking guide and just correct the error that I have seen. Now, I already have 4 different types of trees, but I'm not done yet because plants are anything that is found in the wild that takes on energy from the sun. So it's not an animal, obviously, but they can be low-growing plants, or they can be trees or very high-growing plants. Or maybe there's different types of shrubs on the ground, maybe different types of flowers. That's something I need to do a little bit more research before I can say I'm done. Because just thinking, I think deciduous forests must have more than just 4 types of trees. There must be grass on the ground or something. So I'm going to go back and toggle to my Epic book and see if they say anything else about the different types of forests. It says they have rich soil, tall canopy trees, lower levels of shrubs, and diverse wildlife. So shrubs right here is actually another type of plant. It says a shrub is a woody plant that has several stems and is smaller than most trees. So I just found another type of plant that is grown in the deciduous forest. So I'm going to toggle back to my note-taking guide, and I'm going to write shrubs. I'm actually going to make sure I'm going to write low growing, because that just helps me know that unlike a tree, the shrubs stay very close to the ground. So low growing shrubs and plants. I'm going to go back to my book on Epic Books, and I'm going to flip through my page to see if maybe there's any more information on other types of plants within this one source. As I skim over or read, I notice that unfortunately, it's not giving me any new information or any type of information regarding different plants or trees. So I'm going to continue through my book. And as I look again, I'm not really seeing any other different types of plants besides one more. This time I have to use the text feature. I see this photograph here. And at first, I kind of just skimmed right past it with my eyes. And then I realized that the caption underneath says, some evergreen trees also grow in the deciduous forest. There we go. I just found another example of a type of plant that grows in the deciduous forest. Those are evergreen trees. So I'm going to toggle back to my note-taking guide, and I'm going to write down evergreen trees. And then I'm going to go back to my Epic book. Now, on this page, I noticed 2 different text features. I noticed that I have a beautiful photograph of a forest and a close-up picture of some type of plant. So this gives me a little bit of a signal that maybe I'm going to find information on these 2 pages that may help me with my note-taking guide on different types of plants. So let me go ahead and read. The tree's leaves grow back in the spring, and the leaves' broad shape catches sunlight and makes food for the trees. Shrubs grow under the canopy. Wildflowers and berries rise between the shrubs. Mosses and ferns carpet the ground. So I just actually found out wildflowers and berries are also some more plants that grow in the deciduous forest, as well as mosses and ferns. So I'm going to go ahead and toggle back to my note-taking guide and add in my next couple of examples that I just found. I found that wildflowers also grow there and berries. I also found out that ferns and mosses grow on the grounds. Now, as you can see, since I wrote a lot of information, it automatically made my note-taking guide go on to the next page. That is completely fine because I would like to have more information than not enough. When you're doing research, you want to collect as much information as you can from as many sources as you can. So far, I've only used one source, but I still have some more room to add any more information about different types of plants. So I'm going to try to go into another book on my Epic book collection and see if they have any other examples of types of plants. This time, I'm going to go into my Discover the Earth's Ecosystem book and see if they have any other examples of plants. As I select my book, I thankfully am opened up right to the title of my biome, Deciduous Forest. This is probably just luck because the last time I had used this book was during the time I was also showing you guys examples. So I'm in my biome in this book. Now I have to remember my focus today is on plants, the types of plants that are found. So as I read, I'm just trying to look for any more types of plants that I didn't already write down on my note-taking guide. So I'm going to go into my Epic book. I'm going to go to my next page. And unfortunately, Epic book tends to be a bit small, so you need to just increase by zooming in. It says, let's stop first in the temperate deciduous forest. Seasonal changes characterize this biome. A long, warm growing season is followed by a cold winter. Each year, deciduous trees shed their leaves as the weather gets colder. So that's more just about its weather. I actually now have found more information about where they can be found, but I have to remember today I am focusing on the different types of plants inside my forest. So as of right now, I haven't really found any other different types of plants, but I did find more information that I might want to include in my note-taking guide that I might have forgotten. Like, I'm not quite sure if I said that deciduous forests are found in China, Japan, and Russia. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my biome note-taking guide, and I'm going to scroll back to my location and see if I was able to actually put that. They can be found on 6 different continents, not found in Antarctica, found in North America, Northeast Asia, and Western and Central Europe. So I actually did include that. I might also just write Japan, China, and Russia, because I think that's kind of an interesting fact and something I didn't really know. The point of me showing you this is to show you that your research doesn't have to end just because that day we weren't working on it. If you ever go through a book and find information that could have fit into any of the previous categories, such as location, climate, landforms, or even plants, you can do so. You're not limited ever. You can always continue to add more and even research more. So right now, since I'm done with my plant section, I'm going to move on to adaptations. Now, adaptations are the things that plants and animals have that help them survive the harsh weather and climates of their biome, of where they live. Did you ever wonder why only certain plants aren't found in the desert and in the tundra, or why certain plants are only found in forests, or why certain plants can grow in the ocean while others can't grow in the ocean. They all have adaptations. Adaptations help plants survive. They are the special features and unique elements that plants have that help them survive these biomes that they call home. Coral reef that is found at the bottom of the ocean can never grow outside your window because it's meant for the climate and the biome of the ocean. It has adapted or changed to be able to survive that biome of the ocean. While certain plants in the desert, in the tundra, and in the forest have adapted or changed to survive that particular biome. So right now, I'm going to look through my book to see what adaptations do plants have to survive my biome, the deciduous forest. So I'm going to go back to my epic book, and I'm going to see if there was any information on maybe different types of plants and how they are able to survive. So as I look through here, it says that food chains illustrate a straight line of what munches what. Food webs are more complex. For example, a deciduous forest food chain might begin with some algae. Oh, could algae be a type of plant that lives in this biome? Or is it an animal? We'll have to think about that, or maybe do some more research. And then it goes into talking about the food chain. So it doesn't really tell me about how these plants are exactly surviving. We need to know what they're doing. How can these plants survive in this deciduous forest? So although this was a very interesting article on the food chains and food webs, and right now he left us with the question, is an algae a plant or an animal? So it left us with something to wonder about, but it didn't specifically state the plant adaptations. So I'm going to continue through my book to see if I can find any adaptations that plants have to survive the deciduous forest. So I'm going to zoom in to where it says, dig it, the dirt on the soil. So as I read that article or that short paragraph, I noticed that soil is very important. It says depending on where you live or which biome you visit, you'll discover different types of soil. Soil might contain clay, sand, or silt. And these components determine soil's texture. So it seems like soil is very important and might be a great adaptation for plants to survive in the deciduous forest biome. So I'm now going to go ahead and read some more. It says soil covers the planet's land surface and is necessary for life. It might look, dirty, but it's full of nutrients, living organisms, and decaying organisms. Soil is porous, meaning that it's filled with teeny holes or spaces. When rainfall pelts soil, the water flows through all of those holes and it dissolves the nutrients. This allows thirsty trees and plant roots to then slurp up the nutrients. So that made me realize that having porous soil that roots can grow into and that water can be absorbed as well as nutrients is an adaptation that the deciduous forest has for plants to survive, because these plants have roots that go underground. So the soil must be able to provide those plants and those roots with the nutrients and water they need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to toggle back to my note-taking guide, and I'm going to fill in the adaptation that the plants have. Plants must have roots. Roots must grow into the soil. And now remember, what did it say about that soil? How do these plants survive? Well, if I don't remember, I can go back to my epic book and I can always reread. And it states that this porous soil allows the thirsty tree and plant roots to slurp up the nutrients and water. So that's how they allow those plants to survive and get their nutrients deep underground. So I'm going to go back and toggle to my note-taking page and say the soil is filled with holes that allow the plant's root to get water and nutrients. If you notice, I was really close to writing filled with is porous, but I decided to use my own words because I wouldn't use porous all the time. So I said the soil is filled with holes that allow the plant's roots to get water and nutrients. So I feel that I have looked at all I can look at so far in this book. So what I'm going to do is then I will select another book, and I might want to try to select a book that would help me figure out some more adaptations. Because on my note-taking guide, it looks like I could add a little bit more. So I'm actually going to go into the What is a Biome book. This would be considered my third source that I've already used for doing these two note-taking categories. Remember, you should always use at least 2, 3, 4, even better. So now remember, I'm still looking for what are the adaptations that these plants have that allows them to survive in the deciduous forest. So I'm going to click through my book. Right here I have what is a biome. And then I have where the different biomes are. It looks like I have a little bit of a food chain and a food web. So it doesn't exactly look like exactly what I need. I found that out by just reading the headings. Headings let us know what these are all going to be about on here. I didn't really find a paragraph that said plants or a heading that said plant survival or adaptations of plants. So I don't think this page might be helpful. So I'm going to continue on through my book. This page is really talking about climate as I look at the heading. And remember, I'm not speaking about climate right now, but I can always go back and add to my climate note-taking page. So I'm going to continue through my book to see if they have anything. Well, look at this, adapting to biomes. That is a very strong heading. That heading, adapting to biomes, lets us know that these 2 pages are all going to be about how animals adapt to their different biomes. Now, when I collect my information, though, I have to make sure I'm only collecting the information on my specific biome, which is the deciduous forest. So I'm going to zoom in and read a little bit. It says plants and animals are well suited to the biome in which they live. Over time, plants adapt or they change so they can get as much sunshine and water as possible for making food. Then it goes on to tell me about some desert plants. So I know I'm not going to really mind that because I'm not the desert. Then I look down here where my picture is, and I see different types of plants. I see Arctic poppies, so that would be in the Arctic. I see some plants have adapted to living in wetland biomes. And here are some of the plants who live in wetlands. So neither one, unfortunately, is having to do with my specific biome. So although this was great information on what adapting means, it didn't give me any information on my biome. So I would have to continue my research farther. And here we go, forest biomes. This is my biome. So when I look in this biome, I need to remember that I'm looking for plants and how they adapt. So as I read, it says forest biomes are filled with large trees and other small plants. Forests are very important to the earth. They use large amounts of carbon dioxide to make their food. Carbon dioxide is a gas that is dangerous to people and animals when there is too much of it in the air. Forests also freshen the air by releasing oxygen through their leaves. Oxygen is a gas that people and animals need to breathe. Forest biomes can be found in cold, tropical, and temperate areas. Then we have our one forest biome called arboreal forest. This is for those of you who are doing the taiga. This will give you information on the plants that can grow there. However, I'm not doing the taiga, so that information would not be very helpful to me. Here are also information on the taiga animals. So I'm going to continue through my book, hoping that maybe they have some more information on the deciduous forest. So here are temperate forests, and this is my actual deciduous forest biome, because it can also be called temperate forest. That's what I had learned. So in here, it tells me about the climate I see. It tells me about the endangered animal above. And then it shows me a couple of pictures of temperate rainforests. But unfortunately, I'm not doing rainforests. I'm just doing the deciduous forests. So it says temperate deciduous forests have trees and broad leaves. These trees do not make food during the winter because there is not enough rain or sunshine. Their leaves turn color and fall. In the colder northern regions, conifers grow among the deciduous trees, and then this is called a forest that has more than one tree is called a mixed forest. So I guess one adaptation I could see that plants and trees have to survive is that trees shed their leaves during the cold winter months. So far, that is all the information I have been able to find on the adaptations of the animals and plants, of the plants that live in the deciduous forest. I would have to continue my research on the deciduous forest tomorrow, focusing on animals and their adaptations as well. I'll see you tomorrow, where you can look forward to watching that video as well.